Are you a man over 55 who wakes up feeling stiff, cold in the hands and feet, sluggish in the morning, foggy until your second cup of coffee, and like your engine just doesn't warm up the way it used to? Do you notice you get winded faster? Your legs feel heavy on stairs, your workouts don't pump like before, and even your mood feels flatter until midday. Here's the shock. For a lot of men, it's not that their body suddenly forgot how to circulate blood. It's that their morning routine is quietly shutting down the very signal that opens blood vessels. And the cheap, overlooked alternative isn't another supplement stack or a fancy circulation gummy. It's one simple morning drink you can make for about the cost of loose change, and most men do the popular thing first and accidentally do it backwards. Most people don't realize how normal the common approach is. You hit 55, 60, 65, and you start thinking in terms of fixes. You buy the stimulant pre-workout. You buy the nitric oxide booster pills with aggressive labels. You add an expensive beet extract capsule that claims it works in minutes. You chase fish oil, L-arginine, L-citrulline, ginseng, and a whole cabinet of powders. Or you do what almost every man does. You start your day with coffee first on an empty stomach, then you grab something quick and you hope your body catches up. And it makes sense. It's popular. It feels logical. Coffee wakes you up. Supplements feel medical. Capsules feel precise. Stronger dose feels stronger result. But here's the real reason it still fails. Circulation isn't just about stimulation. It's about signaling. Specifically, it's about whether your blood vessels get the message to relax. That message is largely carried by a molecule called nitric oxide. And after 55, the machinery that produces and protects nitric oxide gets easier to disrupt. So when men chase quick fixes, more caffeine, more pills, more pump, they often create the exact internal environment that burns through nitric oxide faster or blocks its production pathway. The body doesn't respond to hype. It responds to chemistry. So here's the reveal, said clearly. The reason the common approach often fails is that men try to force blood flow with stimulation instead of supporting the nitric oxide signaling system that naturally opens vessels. The surprisingly simple alternative is beetroot plus lemon water first thing in the morning, not as a miracle, not as a drug, but as a practical way to feed the nitric oxide pathway and protect it from getting shut down by your typical morning habits. Biology over marketing, support over forcing. Now let me be very direct about what this means and what it doesn't mean. This isn't a replacement for medical care. It's not a cure for artery disease. And if you're on blood pressure medication, nitrates, or you have kidney issues, you should check with your clinician because supporting blood flow can interact with real medical conditions. But for everyday men 55 plus who want their system to run smoother, this is one of the most overlooked foundation moves. Here's the real reason beetroot matters. It's rich in dietary nitrates. Those nitrates are raw material your body can convert into nitric oxide through a pathway that becomes more important as we age. Lemon adds vitamin C and acidity that can help protect nitric oxide chemistry and makes the routine easier to stick to because it improves taste and habit compliance. Most people don't realize the best health routines aren't the most intense. They're the ones you actually repeat. Now we layer the mechanism because this is where men stop wasting money. Another overlooked factor is absorption and timing. Think of your nitric oxide system like a factory that needs raw materials delivered at the start of the shift. If you wait until late afternoon, you're asking the factory to catch up when the day's stress, meals, and inflammation have already piled up. When you take beetroot early, you're supplying the nitrate inventory before your body hits traffic. Cortisol, coffee, and blood sugar swings. The common method loses effectiveness because it tries to add a booster after the system is already stressed. The better alternative solves this by setting the tone early when the body is most responsive to simple inputs. Most people don't realize there are two main routes to nitric oxide. Another overlooked factor is pathway choice. One route uses the amino acid L-arginine and an enzyme system often called nitric oxide synthase. That route depends heavily on endothelial health, oxygen availability, and certain cofactors. After 55, that system can be slower or rustier. Beetroot supports a different route, nitrate to nitrite to nitric oxide. Think of it like taking the side road when the highway is under construction. The common method, random arginine pills, random stimulants, often assumes the highway is wide open. The better alternative uses a route the aging body can still use effectively, especially when done consistently. Here's the real reason that nitrate route is so interesting. It involves your mouth. Another overlooked factor is the oral microbiome. Friendly bacteria on your tongue help convert nitrate into nitrite, a key step before nitric oxide production increases downstream. Think of those bacteria like the first workers on the assembly line. If you wipe them out, the line slows. This is why the common method loses effectiveness when men use harsh antiseptic mouthwash daily, especially in the morning, then wonder why no boosters don't hit the same. You're sterilizing the very first step. The better alternative naturally respects the process. Drink beetroot plus lemon water and avoid strong antiseptic mouthwash right before or after. That's not superstition, that's flow-through biology. Another overlooked factor is oxidative stress, which is a fancy term for rust. Nitric oxide is delicate. It gets destroyed by reactive molecules when inflammation is high, sleep is poor, or blood sugar is unstable. Think of nitric oxide like a text message your body sends to your vessels that says, relax. Oxidative stress is like static that deletes the message before it arrives. The common method loses effectiveness because stimulants and sugar-loaded breakfast can raise that static. The better alternative supports the message. Beet nitrates increase the signal, and lemon, through vitamin C and acidity, helps create a chemical environment that's less hostile to that signal. Again, not magic, just compatibility. Most people don't realize your vessel lining, the endothelium, is basically an organ. Another overlooked factor is endothelial responsiveness. Your endothelium senses pressure, senses inflammation, and decides whether to release relaxing factors or constricting factors. After 55, it can become less responsive, like a stiff hinge. The common method tries to kick the door down with caffeine and pump formulas. The better alternative oils the hinge. By supporting nitric oxide availability, you're giving the endothelium a reason and a tool to relax the smooth muscle in the vessel walls. This is why some men notice warmer hands, better workout pump, or easier walking endurance after a few weeks of consistent nitric oxide support. Not because you forced anything, because you restored a signal. Another overlooked factor is the stress response. Cortisol rises naturally in the morning. That's normal. But if you stack that with immediate caffeine, rushing, and shallow breathing, you amplify the tighten up message in your nervous system. Your sympathetic system tells vessels to constrict in certain regions because it's preparing you for action, not relaxation. The common method loses effectiveness because men ask for blood flow while their nervous system is shouting clench. The better alternative supports balance, a non-stimulant morning drink that supports nitric oxide signaling without jacking the nervous system up. This is why, for many men, beetroot plus lemon water feels different than a stimulant. It's smoother. Another overlooked factor is cellular energy, ATP. Your body doesn't dilate vessels for fun. It does it to match oxygen delivery with energy demand. When mitochondria are struggling because sleep is short, protein is low, inflammation is up, everything gets stingier. The common method tries to override the budgeting system with hype. The better alternative works with the budget by improving efficiency. Nitric oxide helps improve blood flow distribution, and better blood flow helps deliver oxygen and nutrients that support energy production. When X improves, Y stabilizes. When oxygen delivery improves, muscles waste less energy. When muscles waste less energy, fatigue hits later. When fatigue hits later, you move more. And movement itself further improves circulation. That's a compounding loop, not a temporary spike. So how do you use this in real life without turning your kitchen into a lab? Practical integration is simple, and it's designed for consistency. First, keep it basic. Mix about 1 to 2 teaspoons of beetroot powder into 8 to 12 ounces of water. Then squeeze in lemon. If you use beet juice instead, a small glass, roughly 4 to 8 ounces, works for many men, and lemon still helps taste and habit. Second, drink it before coffee, not after. Give it 10 to 20 minutes head start so it becomes the first signal of the day, not an afterthought. Third, take it on an almost daily schedule, like 5 days per week, because signaling systems respond to repetition. Fourth, pair it with a simple breakfast that doesn't spike blood sugar, eggs, Greek yogurt, oats with nuts, because blood sugar spikes create oxidative static that burns through signaling. Fifth, if workouts are your focus, take it 60 to 120 minutes before activity a few times per week and pay attention to how your endurance and pump feel. Sixth, hydrate. Nitric oxide can't compensate for dehydration. Dehydration makes blood thicker and delivery harder. You don't need intensity. You need a baseline. Now, objections, because your brain will try to talk you out of foundations. What if you forget? Then you build a trigger. Put the beet powder next to your coffee maker. You don't need motivation. You need positioning. If you miss a day, nothing collapses. But if you're inconsistent for weeks, nothing builds. What if digestion is sensitive? Start smaller, half a teaspoon, more water. Sip slowly, and don't take it with a stomach full of heavy grease. Most people don't realize sensitive digestion is often a stress response issue too. Calm inputs work better than aggressive ones. What if you already tried beet supplements and felt nothing? Here's the real reason. Feeling nothing is not proof of doing nothing. Many circulation improvements are subtle at first. Warmth, steadier energy, easier walking, less dead legs, and a lot of beet capsules are underdosed or poorly absorbed, which creates the illusion you tried it. Powder or real juice is harder to fake. What if you think higher dose equals better? That's the money-wasting mindset. More isn't always better. More is sometimes just more stomach upset, more bathroom surprises, and more quitting. The key is the smallest dose you can repeat for 30 to 60 days. And yes, your urine might turn pinkish or reddish. That's common for some people with beet pigments. It's alarming if you don't know, but it's usually harmless. That's not your body bleeding. That's color compounds passing through. Again, simple biology. Now let's expand the benefits beyond blood flow because this is where foundations prove they're worth it. When nitric oxide signaling is supported and oxidative stress is lower, blood pressure regulation often becomes steadier. When regulation is steadier, headaches and afternoon crashes can calm down for some men. When circulation improves, hands and feet can feel warmer, and that warmth changes how your nervous system interprets safety. When the body feels safer, sleep quality can improve. When sleep improves, testosterone rhythm and growth hormone pulses often stabilize. When hormones stabilize, muscle recovery improves. When muscle recovery improves, you train or walk more consistently. When you move more, insulin sensitivity improves. When insulin sensitivity improves, energy becomes steadier and belly fat becomes easier to manage. And when belly fat improves, inflammation drops further, protecting the very endothelium that started this whole conversation. This is why the drink is not a hack. It's a lever that nudges multiple systems at once. Now the mindset shift, because men 55 plus get targeted by marketing that preys on urgency. They sell you fear in a bottle. They sell you the idea that you need a special formula, a secret compound, a proprietary blend. But the body isn't impressed by labels. It responds to biological compatibility. Supporting beats forcing. Foundation beats hacks. If your morning routine starts with stress, dehydration, and a stimulant spike, you're basically asking your vessels to perform while you sabotage the signal, and then you blame age. Age matters, yes, but habits matter more than most people are willing to admit. Here's the real reason this is empowering. You don't need to win with intensity. You win with alignment. You choose inputs that match how the body actually works. Nitrate conversion, endothelial signaling, oxidative balance, nervous system regulation. You stop paying for excitement and start paying attention to the pathway. That's how you stop wasting money. So keep the title in your mind and understand it the mature way. One morning drink can't replace medical care, but one morning drink can absolutely change your daily baseline if it supports the right mechanism. Beetroot plus lemon water, taken consistently before the chaos, is one of the simplest ways to support nitric oxide signaling and circulation for men over 55. Do it for 30 days. Track the real indicators: warmth, energy steadiness, walking endurance, workout pump, sleep quality. And then decide based on your body, not marketing. If you want the simplest action takeaway, it's this. Start tomorrow morning with the foundation, not the stimulant. Make the beetroot and lemon water your first signal. Keep it consistent. Stop chasing quick fixes that spike you for an hour and leave you flatter by noon. Build the biology and let the blood flow support you the way it was designed to.